and she is known as the queen as far as the queen of ketamine in Los Angeles is concerned. We're talking about this 41-year-old woman named Jasveen Sangha. She's been at the center of the investigation, and when she's allegedly been running a drug empire out of a Hollywood home. That's where she stored the packaged drugs, and when her house was raided, the federal agents found 79 bottles of that liquid ketamine. With that, we're slipping into a very short break. Back with a whole lot more on the other side. Stay with us.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
Now, a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate. Let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. 10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hello and welcome welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
Now, a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate, let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
Now, a $7
Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV. I'm Aarti Krishnan. Let's take a look at the top headlines. Calcutta High Court takes up matters on vandalism of Arjikar College campus. 19 arrests have been made over vandalism. The mob had attacked the emergency ward. Doctors demand safety. Election Commission to announce assembly election dates today. Haryana, Maharashtra and Jharkhand to go to polls, while Jammu and Kashmir will go to polls after a decade. Prime Minister Modi interacts with Indian Olympics contingent. He hailed their spirit and said the entire nation is proud of its athletes and their hard work. ISRO successfully launched an Earth satellite mission into the intended orbit. The space agency launched its third and final development flight. Sweden, Pakistan report first cases of mpox outside Africa. Over 400 dead in Democratic Republic of Congo. WHO issues global health alert, warns of possible spread to Europe. Latest in the investigation of Friends star Matthew Perry's death, 5 including 3 doctors and the actor's assistant charged for allegedly taking advantage of Perry's addiction. We have some breaking news coming in on the broadcast. Calcutta High Court has taken up the matter on vandalism of RG College campus, which occurred on the night of 14th August. The CJ has said to the state that we listed this because of the emails received due to vandalism in the hospital, and that this is an absolute failure of state machinery. The state, in fact, has argued that there was a police force present at that moment when the vandalism happened as well. The CJ, of course, asking if the state is taking measures after the incident. My colleague Saurabh joins us with more details. Saurabh, in terms of the hearing in the Calcutta High Court on the vandalism that has taken place in the hospital, are preventive measures taken is the big question that the court is asking.
Well, definitely after the vandalism incident, there's a lot of police, and of course the protest, stage that was set up by, political groups right outside the hospital, that's been removed. And of course, but the question itself is, why was this incident not, prevented in the first place? Given the fact that, there were protests going on, and something like this should have been not only anticipated, but also picked up by the police intelligence. This is not to say that the police did not try. Of course, the Calcutta High Court has said this is, absolute machinery, state machinery failure. And that day we were there on the spot when this was taking place. And clearly, for some reason, the police weren't able to prevent that. The pictures themselves tell the story. The mob managed to enter the hospital, broke down barricades, ransacked the emergency ward completely. We were at a spot where the police were trying to push back the mob after they had managed to do this. And, the police, at that point also, where we were there when the police were trying to fight off the mob, the police were surrounded on three sides. Clearly, they were outnumbered, outmaneuvered. So this is something that the High Court has now raised, that this should have been done earlier, that this should have been, seen and anticipated earlier. And, of course, the Calcutta High Court is hearing this petition, and they say that they've listed it because, there is, of course, this matter is extremely serious. But I'm coming to you from Shambazar, where the BJP was supposed to hold a protest. The BJP stage for the protest, we are being told, has not been allowed. And there is police here. BJP leaders are also there on the other side. Agnimitra Paul, the BJP MLA, is here. But this protest, of course, site is here, and they've not been allowed to hold this protest here. You can see in these pictures Agnimitra Paul speaking to the media, explaining why their protest was not been allowed and questioning that decision. And of course, you can see the police also here, making it very clear that they will not allow this protest, to take place, is what they're saying as of now. We don't know what, of course, is transpired in terms of communication between the police and the BJP as far as these protests are concerned. But the protests have not been allowed, is what we are being given to understand by the BJP leaders here.
Right, Saurabh. As the High Court has pulled up the state for safety of doctors, on the other hand, doctors are protesting as well. Stay on with us. Let's give our viewers some context on the nationwide uproar over the Kolkata hospital rape and murder case. Now, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has in fact announced a rally this evening as well to demand death penalty for the accused. She had given Sunday as the ultimatum to the CBI, the central agency that is now taking over the probe and carrying out investigation to ensure the accused is hanged till death. Around 5 people, we're learning, are being interrogated by the CBI and police forces. With the protesters accusing the police of mishandling the case and the Trinamool trying to destroy evidence is the allegation that's out there. The doctors as well are holding protests. The IMA has said the doctors are withdrawing their services of modern medicine for another 24 hours till their demands are met in terms of safety. My colleague Saurabh joins us from Kolkata. I also have my colleague Tanish joining us from Lucknow's KGMU. Firstly, Saurabh, in terms of the ripple effect that the protests from Kolkata have had nationwide, they're still continuing, doctors still demanding safety. Saurabh, if you're able to hear me.
Yes.
Saurabh, take us through the protests in Kolkata and how they've spread now like wildfire throughout the country.
Well, at RG Medical College and Hospital, the students continue to protest. They say their protests will continue despite appeals from the Chief Minister to call off the protest and return to work. But RG Medical College and Hospital, the emergency ward clearly now is not fit for any patient service. It's been completely vandalized and destroyed by this mob that went on a rampage that night. And of course, we were there at that time. But there are other political protests taking place as well. One was scheduled by the BJP. And we have been given to understand that there's been some sort of an issue with the police, and that protest, of course, the fate of that protest hangs in the limbo with, I believe, some sort of issue with the police that the protest permissions have run into. Meanwhile, on the other hand, of course, there is another protest that is taking place, and we've seen senior Trinamool leader Derek O'Brien's tweet as well. Mamata Banerjee, of course, will also be holding a protest today, marching from Moolali to Dorina Crossing. For that protest. So obviously multiple protests taking place on this issue. Political parties also protesting on this issue. But apart from that, the focus really is on the medical students issues, because students at RG Medical College and Hospital have clearly told us that on campus they will not allow political flags. Political protesters will have to stay outside of the campus. The protest they are running is, they're saying, for safety and security and for doctors across the country. So there's a clear marked line as far as the protests inside the campus and protests outside the campus are concerned. These are political protests, of course. These are organized by several political parties. This one is by the BJP. There's one by the Trinamool as well. But otherwise, inside the hospital, the protest that's taking place by students, which also we reported from a little while earlier, that one's absolutely apolitical, with the students making it very clear that if someone wants to join the protest, they're welcome, but without their political color, political flags and political identity.
Right, Saurabh, thank you for joining us and bringing us those details from Kolkata. My colleague Tanish joins us from Lucknow. Tanish, now there's been protests across the nation. Doctors, they're demanding safety. They're also putting forth a demand of a centralized security law as well.
Well, of course, Aarti, if I talk about Uttar Pradesh, in almost every district, there are protests going on. Right now, I'm at the KGMU of Lucknow. Today, around 4 colleges will gather at around 5:36 p.m. at the 1090 crossing. That's one of the most busiest crossing in Lucknow. 1090 was a women helpline number, women power number that was launched in 2012 to deal with cases with, to deal with incidents related to atrocities of women. Now, I'm at KGMU Lucknow. You can see, of course, this is the preparation that is going on today. A march was held in the morning. Now, the preparation is going on for the protest in the evening, a silent candle march in the evening. You can of course see the posters being made by resident doctors. All of them are making posters, and you can of course see all of the resident doctors wearing the black band in their hand as a mark of protest. Now of course the protest has intensified since it started in Uttar Pradesh and in Lucknow. Now when FODA called off the strike earlier, UPRDA did not. UPRDA continued the strike, continued the protest, except for 15th August where it was put on a halt for 1 day due to Independence Day. And now the protest continues. You can of course see all of them have gathered here. They are preparing. Right now preparation is going on. You can of course see the black ribbons everybody is getting, and all of them will be wearing black ribbons. And the protest in the evening will be of much larger scale. Around 4 biggest medical colleges of Lucknow will be joining. You can of course see the posters being made in front of you. Now the point is here, the protest is just not about what, definitely it is about what happened in Kolkata, but it extends beyond that. It is about the safety and security of doctors, especially women doctors in the medical colleges. Yes.
Right, Sanesh. Thank you for joining us and bringing us those details from Lucknow. A wider protest are expected in Lucknow as well. Not just there, but protests are taking place in New Delhi and Bengaluru as well. My colleagues Shreya and Pratibha report. Take a look.
No safety, no duty. This is the common sentiment amongst the doctors here. I am at Lady Hardinge Medical College and Hospital in Delhi, and here these young doctors, mostly undergraduate MBBS students, along with faculty members and resident doctors, have gathered here to protest demanding for justice, demanding for safety security measures in the hospitals for women, and also passing of the Central Protection Act. Let's hear from the students what is their main demand at this point. We know the CBI inquiry is ongoing of the RG Kaur brutal rape and murder case. Let's hear from the students what is their demand at this point.
साक्षी
का भी मेन डिमांड क्या है?
हमारी मेन डिमांड है कि जस्टिस फॉर द आरजेकर कॉलेज.
Justice. You want the accused to be held. One accused has already been arrested. और
एक्चुअली देयर आर मैनी अक्यूज्ड, सो वी वांट कि जितने भी उन्होंने डॉक्टर देवनाथ के साथ किया उन सबको सजा मिले.
आप लोग को पता होगा कि आरजी कर हॉस्पिटल में जो केस हुआ उसके बाद देयर वाज मैसिव प्रोटेस्ट इन कोलकाता एंड अमिड्स दैट vandalism took place. Some goons barged into the hospital in the crime scene and they destroyed the facilities in the emergency room, right? So how that makes you feel about the law and order in Kolkata?
We are very, very, very sad that as a democratic country, if we are protesting in a silence, in a peaceful way, still the mob is here to attack on us. We doctor, what we want? We just want the safety of a female doctor. We just want our safety. If you can't provide safety in a democratic country to our doctors, to our females, then how can we say that we are independent? In this independence, in this 78th Independence Day, we are not independent. We are not independent in this democratic country.
Give you a small picture. This is the protest site, and you have the mental facility that is right here. In fact, most of them are mental health professionals who gathered here, but most of them stay in a hostel there, right at the very end of this road. And imagine there are many such intersections like this, and when they have to work late in the night, how are they going to feel safe walking through these roads when you hear of such a brutality that has happened inside the premises of a hospital? And that has been one of the key questions that has been raised by most of the doctors here. And talking about the simple facilities that are still missing, be it a toilet, be it a restroom. Let me actually get you the exact picture of the kind of challenges faced by you because of the lack of facilities at every hospital for female doctors.
For any female doctor, the first concern when you enter a department is to find a washroom that is accessible to you and is decently clean and hygienic for you to access it. It is very disheartening that at this stage and with this much awareness that we create amongst the public, we first are the sufferers and we have to find these places for ourselves, which may not be given to every resident. A good resident duty doctor room, somewhere they can rest at night, some safe place to have food, and a safe place to access hygienic facilities are not there in each and every place. Having said that, our campus does have a better environment than most other places, and we are very happy about that. It is quite a commendable effort. But since more and more females are coming in this line, we would urge the administration across all colleges that you create a safe environment. The corridors that we walk through at night unattended and by ourselves should be well lit. So should be the campus grounds, and we want security personnel who actually come for help, not after the incident has happened, but who monitor the situation at the ground level and do not allow too many people to come in. An angry mob with a bad patient is every doctor's nightmare, and we hope that this takes cognizance, and the government and the administration takes cognizance of this now.
Breaking news coming in on the broadcast. A major reshuffle has been announced in Jammu and Kashmir's administration ahead of the elections. IGPs, DIGs are among several senior Jammu and Kashmir police officers who've been transferred. Many districts have gotten new police chiefs as well. Remember, this comes ahead of the elections. Nitish Kumar has been appointed as the new intelligence chief of Jammu and Kashmir. Large-scale transfers now seen in Jammu and Kashmir police and administration ahead of the elections. The announcement of which, of course, will be taking place at around 3 p.m. today. Remember, the Election Commission is set to announce the dates for elections as well. Jammu and Kashmir's elections will take place after almost a decade there. Now a major reshuffle in administration and police officials ahead of the elections. IGPs, DIGs and SSPs have been some of the top officials who've been transferred to various areas. My colleague Nazir joins us with more details. Nazir, take us to the latest rejig in the Jammu and Kashmir police administration as well.
Well, hours before Election Commission is expected to announce polling dates and the model code of conduct will come into place. The J&K administration has issued slew of orders of transfers from administration to police. J&K has got new intelligence police of J&K police. Nitish Kumar has been appointed as the new intelligence chief, CID chief of Jammu and Kashmir police. And also there are several IGs, DIGs, several districts, SPs have been transferred by the administration. And there are some DCs and other officials have also been transferred. There are several departments. You see slew of orders hours before the election dates are announced. So there I spoke to some of the political leaders. They say it is a questionable, even as the Election Commission had set a deadline for the J&K administration to transfer people who have completed their term, 3-year term in one place. But most of the officers who have been transferred have not completed 3 years. So there would be no politics, because in election every move is seen through the political prism. Having said that, this is a historic election which is happening, first assembly elections in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, which no political party even that were ready to accept. They say this was the largest and the first state in the subcontinent which had acceded to Union of India, and then now it has been reduced to Union Territory. So the main plank about these elections, even the parliament elections, was restoration of the statehood and the basic rights of the people. So politics remain in a suspended animation. So was democracy. Finally, it is not just elections, new government will be there. It is also a revival of politics, a revival of democracy in Jammu and Kashmir. It's after a gap of 10 years, assembly elections are taking place, and people are really so happy. Political parties are so positive that some finally elections are taking place. And also Election Commission has lived by its word, saying they are holding elections regardless of any circumstances. Chief Election Commissioner, during his visit to Srinagar recently, has said no external or internal threat can derail the democratic process, and they are holding election, and said that the recent parliament elections have given them the confidence that how enthusiastic people are to cast their vote, to exercise their democratic rights. So they will build on that. He has also said that they will keep the deadline set by the Supreme Court, which is the 30th September, in mind while deciding the election schedule in Jammu and Kashmir. So it is an important day for the democracy in India, in democracy in Jammu and Kashmir, and the first assembly election in J&K post abrogation of Article 370, and when J&K no longer is a state, it is a union territory. But during its judgment, the Supreme Court's constitutional bench has not only directed the Election Commission to hold election, it has also directed the central government to restore the statehood as soon as possible. And Prime Minister, during his visit on 21st of June here in Srinagar, announced that elections are happening and also statehood is being restored.
Right. Stay on with us, Nazir. We'll discuss the expected announcements by the Election Commission as well in terms of the security preparations for Jammu and Kashmir. Remember, the Election Commission is set to announce a schedule for the assembly elections today. Assembly elections are to be held in Jammu and Kashmir, Haryana, Maharashtra and Jharkhand. And the Election Commission team had visited Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana recently, remember, to oversee the poll preparedness, but is yet to visit Maharashtra as well. The assembly election is due in Jharkhand as well, where the Legislative Assembly ends in January 2025. My colleague Sunil and Nazir are joining us. My colleague Sunil joins us with more details in terms of what we can expect from the announcements today. Sunil, we're expecting the election dates shortly, in a couple of hours. In fact, what can we expect from the big announcements? Some security arrangements also for Jammu and Kashmir is what we can expect.
That's right. As Nazir was pointing out, Jammu and Kashmir has a unique place, as well as, of course, there will be the state of Haryana, where elections are due, where the full commission has met. We are not yet sure whether they'll make an announcement in the states of Maharashtra as well as Jharkhand, because elections are slightly later expected, even though Haryana was a little bit later. But I think in terms of poll preparedness, they would go ahead with the announcement of the two states, that's J&K and Haryana. Unique for Jammu and Kashmir is that even the candidates get security. And it's in that context that this big announcement is being made to ensure a free and fair election. And has been pointed out right from this morning and once again reiterated by Nazir, This is the first election in 10 years, the first election after Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir, the first election where we are going to see Jammu and Kashmir not as a state but as a union territory. Ladakh also will be going to the polls. It's a unique election in many ways. It's a first for many considerations. And as I said, the entire world will be watching how this election has been conducted. And definitely, I think the Election Commission will make all necessary arrangements to ensure, as he pointed out during his visit to Srinagar, no internal or external threat within the to conduct a free and fair election for the people of Jammu and Kashmir as well as Haryana.
Right, Sunil and Nazir, thank you for joining us and bringing us those details on what we can expect from the Election Commission's announcement. Stay tuned, we'll be covering that at around 3 p.m. today. Shifting focus, the present Haryana government has provided government jobs to 1.44 lakh youth based on merit. This announcement, in fact, comes ahead of the elections there in Haryana. The government also says they will soon be filling 36,000 more government job vacancies. Haryana CM Nayab Saini, in fact, made these announcements ahead of the elections. He said his government will fill these vacancies while also saying that the BJP dispensation has already provided 1.4 lakh jobs to youth. The Haryana cabinet has also decided to give 2,000 rupees per acre as a bonus to farmers on kharif crops in Haryana as well. Now, the CM Saini has in fact also said the government's focus is on welfare of women. Not only that, but education and safety is one of the major focuses of the Haryana government, is what Nayab Saini has said. Remember, these announcements by the Haryana CM comes right ahead of the elections and also just before, in fact, a couple of hours before the Election Commission is going to be announcing the dates for the elections. The present government says that they've already provided 1.4 lakh of jobs for the youth based on merit, and they're saying 36,000 more vacancies will also be filled on government jobs. Remember, unemployment has been one of the major issues when it comes to politics in the state.
किसानों के खाते के अंदर हरियाणा प्रदेश के ऐसे 5,20,000 किसानों के खाते में आज जो ये पहली किस्त यहाँ से जारी की है, ये 525 करोड़ रुपए की किस्त आज जारी की है। जो राज्य के शेष 8 जिले पंचकुला, कैथल, करनाल, हिसार, झज्जर, गुरुग्राम, फरीदाबाद और यमुनानगर में भी चरणबद्ध तरीके से पशु चिकित्सा पॉलीक्लिनिक खोले जाएंगे।
My colleague Gurpreet joins us with more details. Gurpreet, take us through the big announcements that come in Haryana ahead of the elections.
Well, we have seen one side, the Haryana government has already started into this poll mode, and we have seen all the political parties, they are already conducting campaign. They are trying to go to the people at the grassroots level so that they will be able to woo the voter. Today we have seen the Chief Minister of Haryana, Nayab Singh Saini, held a press conference where he has briefed the media saying around 25 crore rupees has been sent into the accounts of the farmers, and it seems that this bonus has been given before imposing of model code of conduct in Haryana for the elections. Somewhere down the line, it seems the farmers are the challenge for the BJP in Haryana state, and even the BJP government, they are also trying to woo these farmers by giving such a type of bonus at the last leg of this government, because they feel this is the challenge for them, and the huge vote bank of the farmers has already been drifted since 3 farm laws had come, and after that we have seen the series of protests had been done in Punjab and Haryana, and a lot of farmers, they are not supporting the BJP at this point of time. So it seems all these policies, all these announcement, bonus and all announcement have been made by the Haryana government to woo the voters, and we have seen there are the multiple challenges before the government. For the last 2 terms, it has been ruling in the state. The good governance is one of the important issue which they are going to take to the public also. They feel due to good governance, they will be able to allure a lot of voters on these issues. So let's see that how the things will be going on in Haryana state. But as of now, it seems a lot of announcements have been made, and specifically today, announcement which has been made by the Haryana Chief Minister for giving bonus to the farmer. Somewhere down the lane, it's the political trend to woo the voters, and specifically they are trying to target the farmers. Back to studio.
Thank you, Gurpreet, for joining us and bringing us those details on this development. Shifting focus now, the countdown for the Maharashtra elections has started. MVA has started holding its campaign rally. The big question, of course, is who will be the CM face of the Mahavikas Aghadi? Uddhav Thackeray, in fact, saying that they need to announce the CM face first as the Mahavikas Aghadi gears up for the assembly elections. Uddhav Thackeray, Sharad Pawar and Chavan are present at this particular meeting. This rally, of course, comes ahead of the assembly elections and ahead of the Election Commission announcing the dates for the elections as well. Remember, a big face-off in terms of the Mahayuti and the Mahavikas Aghadi in several of the key seats in Maharashtra, especially Baramati as well. As Uddhav says that he urges the partners to announce the names for the CM face, as well as the allied parties are going to be participating in a joint rally ahead of the elections today in Mumbai. Uddhav Thackeray, Sharad Pawar, Prithviraj Chavan are present at the event is what we're learning. My colleague Radhika joins us with more details. Radhika, take us through what we can expect from the ground, this mega rally that the MVA is holding ahead of the elections.
Certainly, MVA's public meeting mega rally happening. It is underway at the moment. Uddhav Thackeray just addressed the cadres. In fact, he launched an all-out attack on Mahayuti government. Initially, of course, he started by saying that, he will support whatever the party decides as far as chief ministerial face is concerned. Remember, there were speculations and murmurs over Uddhav Thackeray wanting to be the CM face. However, he's rubbished it, said that Sharad Pawar, Prithviraj Chavan, Nana Patole can decide on the CM's face, and he will support whatever name that the party decides. Of course, he also went on to take a jibe at Mahayuti government's Ladki Behan Yojana, Ladli Behan Yojana, which speaks about giving 1,500 rupees to females every month. So speaking about that, he says that the promoters of the scheme, as well as those associated with it, ambassadors of the scheme, are getting paid more, and also people who are wanting to sort of jump ships and those who get poached from MVA also get tons of money. But why is it that only 1,500 for females under the scheme? So yes, taking a jibe at Mahayuti government, also going on to accuse the government of wanting to push the election. He said that while the elections are supposed to be held in October, there is an attempt by Mahayuti to push the elections by another month so that people of Maharashtra forget what MVA has done for the state. And also there is a deliberate attempt to not hold the municipal elections as well. Of course, his appeal to the cadres to rise above self-interest and work for the development of Maharashtra, ensure that Mahayuti is toppled and MVA comes to power this time for the sake, for the interest of the state. So that's the appeal by Uddhav Thackeray, rubbishing in a way that he wants to be the CM face and that he will support whoever the party decides as the chief ministerial face, and that they will work unitedly and there will not be any disputes over seats, is something that he has assured in that particular speech. Sharad Pawar will also be addressing this rally. So will other leaders. We'll have to wait and see about the reactions that we perhaps may get over the attacks, scathing attacks made by Uddhav Thackeray. Of course, polls perhaps will be held in the month of October. It's going to be interesting considering the change in political landscape and all the churns we saw over the last several years. As far as Lok Sabha elections are concerned, MVA came out victorious. So a big boost to MVA, them winning 31 seats out of 48, and Mahayuti not really putting up a great show in Lok Sabha. But now, of course, rallies have started, and tug of war and war of words between Mahayuti and MVA will only intensify in the days to come.
Right, Radhika, thank you for joining us and bringing us those details. We'll continue tracking these stories for you. For now, a short break.
Hello, Moto. Motorola Razr 50 Ultra. Comes with Google Gemini.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate, let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
A $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate, let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient.
ISRO today successfully placed an Earth observation and SRO DemoSat satellite into intended orbit. The space agency launched its third and final developmental flight. Small satellite launch vehicle D3 carrying Earth observation satellite EO608. The rocket lifted off majestically from the first launch pad at the Satish Dhawan Space Center, situated about 135 kilometers east of Chennai at a prefixed time. The objectives of the SSLV-D3 EOS-08 mission include designing and developing a microsatellite and creating payload instruments compatible with the microsatellite bus. Listen in to what ISRO Chief Somnath had to say after the successful launch.
It's a much more simpler design compared to a regular rocket. It uses more cost-effective inertial systems. The entire navigation process is different. Its ability to place small satellites is very crucial. It's all based on solid stages with a small liquid trimming upper stage. So the entire architecture and design of SSLV is entirely different than the regular liquid based rockets. And in such rockets, to get a precise injection is always tricky. That is an issue that we faced in the first mission. Though he placed the satellite, the precision was slightly an issue. So we solved all the problem, made 2 successful missions, and completed the development program.
Shifting focus now, Ukraine's president has claimed Kyiv troops have full control of the Russian town of Sudzha, which has a pre-war population of 5,000 people and contains infrastructure pumping Russian gas towards Europe. Now, Sudzha, roughly 10 kilometers inside the Russian territory, is the biggest of the 80 settlements that Ukraine claims to have taken during the 10 days since its surprise incursion into Russia began. Now, Ukraine has set up a military administrative office in Russia's western Kursk region, where its surprise incursion into Russia's territory continues, according to its top military commander. Now, the officers in fact said that they would maintain law and order and meet the immediate needs of the population in that area. The Russian defense minister said that Moscow will send reinforcements to safeguard the population in the region.
Головком доповів, щодо операції в Курській області є нове просування, є нове поповнення нашого обмінного фонду. Також генерал Сирський доповів про завершення звільнення міста Суджа від російських військових. І там зараз створюється українська військова комендатура. Звільнені також іще кілька населених пунктів, загалом вже більше ніж 80. Я дякую кожному нашому воїну, який все це забезпечує. Молодці!
We will stop an idea whose time has come, and we are reporting from the settlement of Sudzha in Kursk region, passing by a column of burned-out vehicles. This burnt metal was once Russian equipment heading towards Ukraine, but as you can see, it didn't make it. This is what Sudzha looks like now, once a town of 5,000 people. Now you can notice the difference between the approach of Russian and Ukrainian military. Our forces entered and everything is intact. Now no drones or artillery are needed here. The city is being destroyed by Russian air bombs. We are now at the site of the first battle in Sudzha, which lasted exactly 1 day. Over there was the Ukrainian border, and after that our troops moved further.
The fight lasted all day, from morning till evening. What do you think will happen if there is nothing? I think the bodies of Russians. I don't think it's worth going there. It might be mined.
Local resident Vadim observed from his house. He wasn't evacuated, although he has a small child. And tell me, how old is your child?
A year, 1 year and 3 months.
Take the food here. More than 100 people remain in the city. They are hiding in shelters. In this basement, only civilians are left hiding from air bombs, and we understand perfectly that there are no Ukrainian air bombs, so they are hiding from Russian air bombs. Food and water are beginning to run out. Can you please tell me why this happened?
I don't know. We were friends, comrades, brothers. What happened is unclear.
Have you heard about the war in Ukraine?
I didn't hear anything. Nobody told us anything. Our government abandoned us, went away like cats. Those rich people who had cars left us, and we stayed there. We were simply left like a necessary element.
Now, Moscow's defense ministry reports that Ukrainian losses in the Kursk region over the past 24 hours or so amount to 340 soldiers, with a total of 2,600 men killed in action throughout the incursion. RT correspondent Igor Zhanov brings us more details. Take a look.
Russia has been able to contain the initial advance of the Ukrainian forces, and now it is slowly getting on the offensive itself. So previously, Major General and commander of the Akhmat Special Force, General Abti Alaudinov, revealed what he believes was the initial plan of the Ukrainian militants here. Apparently, the Blitzkrieg was meant to lead the Ukrainian force to the Kursk nuclear power station, and by taking that, it would have allowed the Kyiv regime and would have provided the Kyiv regime with enough leverage to basically confront Russia with an ultimatum. Now, the fighting, of course, is still, it does still continue. The Ukrainians aren't leaving by themselves. They aren't showing any intent to leave. So it seems that the Russian armed forces will have to do, well, to do hard work just to kick them out of the internationally recognized Russian territory. This would have been much harder if the Russian jets weren't operating 24/7 here. They are hitting both the front lines and the Ukrainian reserves in the back. At the same time, the Ukrainians, they have revealed that apparently they have been consulting with their NATO allies before this border incursion, something that both the United States and Europe had previously denied.
There are certain things that have to be done with the element of surprise, and that have to happen on a local level. But there were discussions between partner forces, just not on the public level.
Now, this statement is a bit of a stab in the back for the American president, Joe Biden, whose spokesperson just a day earlier, just a day before that, had claimed that the American leader did not get a heads up.
Can I ask about Ukraine as well? I just wanted to know whether the US supports Ukraine's incursion into the Kursk region.
I don't have anything else to share. I don't. What I will say is that we're certainly not engaged in any aspect of the planning or preparation of this operation, but generally speaking, we're going to continue to support Ukraine as they defend themselves against Russia's aggression, Russia's attacks. Don't have anything else to share beyond that. We're not going to speak to Ukrainians' military operation. That's something that they should do for themselves.
So there you have it. But the fact that the Ukrainians have just revealed that apparently everyone was in the know when it comes to their allies, when it comes to the United States, to the EU, that they were in the know of their plans to try this border incursion into Russia, it doesn't really change much.
Now, international mediators held a new round of talks aimed at halting the Israel-Hamas war and securing the release of scores of hostages, with a potential deal seen as the best hope of heading off an even larger regional conflict. The United States, Qatar and Egypt met with an Israeli delegation in Qatar as the Palestinian death toll from the more than 10-month-old war climbed past 40,000, according to Gaza health authorities. Now, Hamas, which didn't participate directly, accuses Israel of adding new demands to previous proposals that had the US and the international support, to which Hamas had agreed in principle. A ceasefire in Gaza would likely calm tensions across the region. My colleague Ghazali has more details, but first listen into these reactions.
Volker Turk, the High Commissioner for Human Rights, said that today marks a grim milestone for the world, with 40,000 Palestinian lives officially confirmed to have been lost, according to Gaza's health ministry. Most of the dead are women and children. This unimaginable situation, he said, is overwhelmingly due to recurring failures by the Israeli Defense Forces to comply with the rules of war.
Talks are moving forward today in Doha. President Biden directed Director Burns and Brett McGurk to participate for the United States. They're on the ground right now working with representatives from Israel, Qatar, and Egypt. Qatar and Egypt are in turn mediating with Hamas. The resumption of these talks is an important step. And in the lead up to this meeting, we'd already narrowed some gaps.
International mediators are holding a new round of talks in Qatar aimed at halting the war in Gaza and bringing home scores of hostages held there. There are still sticking points between Israel and Hamas, including over whether Israel will maintain troops in certain parts of Gaza or whether any ceasefire becomes permanent. Hamas, meanwhile, hasn't said whether it is participating in the talks or not. It accuses Israel of adding new demands to an evolving US-backed proposal that the sides are weighing. Israel denies this, and it has sent a delegation. Multiple rounds of previous negotiations between the sides throughout the 10-month-long war have failed. But reaching a deal now could help avert a wider regional conflict that might draw in Iran and the militant group Hezbollah into the fighting. The talks come as the death toll in Gaza reaches a grim milestone of 40,000 dead, according to local health officials.
You see the map here, this is the northern Gaza and this is the South Gaza. South Gaza touches the border of Egypt, and this is where in the North Gaza, where the Israeli operation is started post-October 7 attack. But in this entire area, the biggest tragedy for the Palestinians has been that they have been asked to move from one end to another on multiple occasions. In the last 10 months of this war, Israel has been indiscriminately bombing all these areas, be it the North Gaza, the Gaza city, or the central Gaza. But the most impacted area has been the Khan Yunis and the Rafah area. Rafah area was from where the Palestinians in the Gaza city used to sort of receive humanitarian aid from Egypt and other humanitarian organizations. But if you see the loss of life in the last 10 months, more than 1.7% of the overall population of Gaza has perished in this war, and till yesterday, the data suggests that more than 40,000 people have been killed. But experts also believe that around 10,000 people are still not found, and they may be buried under the rubble. And once that would be cleared, then the death toll figures will only increase. Also, nearly 60% of buildings in Gaza has been damaged, including schools, hospitals. That is also violation of international humanitarian law. The United Nations have been raising all these issues with the Israeli government and also with their counterparts in the US. But that has not deterred Israel from carrying out these attacks in the entire Gaza Strip.
Now, Thailand's Shinawatra, the daughter of the divisive former leader Thavisin, is elected Prime Minister by a majority of the country's parliament. This comes after Thailand was thrown into political turmoil once again with the removal of Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin from office by a court ruling after less than a year in power. For appointing the 37-year-old, known by her nickname Ang Ying. She is the youngest child of the billionaire tycoon Thaksin and is a third member of the family after her father and aunt to hold the post. After 400 deaths across Africa, Sweden confirms the first case of Mpox. It's also been confirmed in Pakistan as well. The World Health Organization has declared Mpox as a public health emergency, with the new strain of the disease being declared the deadliest ever. However, despite the many deaths, the WHO has urged for calm, stating that the disease could be dealt with as long as the right things were done at the right time. We spoke to health expert Dr. Anita Ramesh earlier. Listen in. The WHO has issued a public health emergency warning. Is it time to now deploy measures based on the lessons that we have learned from the COVID pandemic?
Yes, a very good morning. I think it is very important to keep our gears ready because, you know, this is a Mpox from the pox virus, usually spreads by contact, sexual contact, body fluid. It can also spread by cough. So what you said is very correct. We need to put all the things in place: prevention, 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 isolation, and then awareness, early detection, and covering our body parts or PPE that is particularly marked so that you don't sneeze and cough. Sexual contacts, any blood fluids, like the precautions we took for COVID has to be in place. So this is it's a type of global warning has been put, and we should not take the things lightly. You know that a number of cases are increasing, and it's outside Africa also. And though we have a vaccine, but I think at this point everybody should be alerted, but not to be panicked. Please put your guards on prevention and prevent exposure, prevent contact.
Absolutely, Dr. Ramesh, like you said, prevention is very important. Now that the cases have been reported in Pakistan as well, we had seen earlier with the case of COVID as well that a cross-border transfer of these viruses happen quite quickly. India hasn't issued advisories yet, but what precautions can we expect the country to announce?
Awareness. We need to aware everybody that there is travel restriction across the borders where the testing is needed. Secondly, cover your face, and not the face, the mouth and the nose. So your secretions, you don't get others' secretion, and neither do you get the secretion to others. If you have a suspicion that you are having fever, body pain, headache, you're feeling weak and start seeing some blisters in the body, rashes, please report to the immediate local authorities and they will tell you what to do. Yes, we have to gear up our testing facilities, that is the RT-PCR, that's a PCR for DNA testing. And the health facilities all over the country should gear up. And I think we are in a better position post-COVID because we have the things in place. And awareness and sexual. One more important thing, this disease spreads sexually. So it should be a barrier method. So unknown sex, please avoid. Promiscuous partners, please avoid, can be potential threat. Next is barrier. We tell for barrier methods of sexual contact will be a preferable, but then everything is better to avoid. I think at this point of time, this awareness and sensitizing the nation will be of a big help. But not to panic. Yes, we can be able to control the disease.
Thank you, Dr. Ramesh, for joining us. Shifting focus now, 5 people, including his personal assistant and 2 doctors, have been charged in connection with Matthew Perry's death in what the prosecutors called a broad underground criminal network dedicated to getting the Friends star the powerful surgical anesthetic that killed him. U.S. Attorney Martin Esreda said that the doctors preyed on Perry's history of addiction to ketamine in the final months of his life last year to provide him with the drug in amounts that they knew were dangerous. Perry died in October, remember, due to a ketamine overdose, and prosecutors said that he received several injections on the day that he died. We'll bring you more on these stories. For now, a short break.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
Our $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate. Let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. everyone, everywhere, every day. बनेगा स्वस्थ इंडिया, one world hygiene.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
So a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate, let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, the dates of the most critical assembly polls in Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana are scheduled to be announced today, in fact in a short while from now. Meanwhile, doctors across the country continue to protest against the horrific rape and murder of a junior doctor in Kolkata recently. We'll get you all that and more in this bulletin, but first up, the headlines. Election Commission to announce assembly dates today, but those are the visuals of Kolkata hospital. In fact, the incidents of vandalism took place short while after the protests by women took place on reclaiming the night. ISRO successfully has launched an Earth satellite mission into intended orbit. The space agency launched its third and final developmental flight. After African countries, Sweden and Pakistan report first cases of Mpox, over 400 dead in Democratic Republic of Congo. WHO has issued global health alert, warns of possible spread of virus to other countries. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with Indian Olympics champions. He hailed their spirit and said the entire nation is proud of its athletes and their hard work. The Indian men's hockey team, which earned its second consecutive Olympic bronze, presented the Prime Minister with a hockey stick signed by all the players. In fact, the team also gave Prime Minister Narendra Modi a signed jersey. Election Commission of India is all set to announce the schedule for assembly elections today. Assembly elections are likely to be held in Jammu and Kashmir, Haryana, Maharashtra and Jharkhand. Remember, the Election Commission team had visited Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana recently on August 11th and 12th to oversee poll preparedness, but it has also visited Maharashtra earlier. In fact, the final meetings are due. What is expected today is the final dates for assembly polls in Jammu and Kashmir and also Haryana. The term of the Legislative Assembly of Jharkhand also ends in January 2025. So that's going to be an interesting election as well. So what is expected today? My colleague Sunil Prabhu has details on this.
They're not yet sure whether they'll make an announcement in the states of Maharashtra as well as Jharkhand, because elections are slightly later expected, even though Haryana was a little bit later. But I think in terms of poll preparedness, they would go ahead with the announcement of the two states, that's J&K and Haryana. Unique for Jammu and Kashmir is that even the candidates get security. And it's in that context that this big announcement is being made to ensure a free and fair election. And has been pointed out right from this morning and once again reiterated by Nazir, this is the first election in 10 years, the first election after Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir, the first election where we are going to see Jammu and Kashmir not as a state but as a union territory. Ladakh also will be going to the polls. It's a unique election in many ways. It's a first for many considerations. And as I said, the entire world will be watching how this election has been conducted. Definitely, I think the Election Commission will make all necessary arrangements to ensure, as he pointed out during his visit to Srinagar, no internal or external threat within to conduct a free and fair election for the people of Jammu and Kashmir as well as Haryana.
Now is Gurpreet Chinna, my colleague from Chandigarh. Gurpreet, Haryana elections are very, they're going to be very closely watched. In fact, Haryana is always known to have voted, according to what it does in Lok Sabha elections. But this time, Lok Sabha elections presented an even Stevens picture for both BJP and Congress in Haryana. So how critical are these election dates as far as Haryana is concerned?
Well, if we can talk about specifically Haryana, we have seen today the Chief Minister of Haryana, he held a press conference where he had given some bonus to the farmers and giving a plea saying that if any crop is going to be damaged and any loss a farmer will face, at least the government will take care of this thing. Somewhere down the lane, it seems the BJP has been claiming they have given a good governance in the state, but they have one doubt in their mind because the farmers, huge vote bank has already been drifted from the BJP, and it seems the BJP is trying to woo the farmers so that they will be able to get a political gain out of these announcements which is being made recently by the Haryana government and specifically by the Chief Minister of Haryana. So if we can talk about Haryana politics, we have seen one side, the Congress party, they are highlighting failure of the state government. They are saying there is no unemployment and multiple papers have been leaked. On the other side, we have seen INLD, that was one time a strong regional party that had already been divided into two parts. One is INLD, which is being headed by Abhay Singh Chautala, and JJP party that is being headed by Dushyant Chautala. So somewhere down the lane, this time the politics and the political equation within the state has already been changed because Aam Aadmi Party has also decided to contest Haryana polls from all the 90 seats. So as of now, multiple announcements are being made by the state government so that they will be able to give with a proper report card to the voters, and they will be able to even impress the voters at the last leg of the government. But at the same time, we have seen the opposition party, they are also putting a question mark over the state government and raising a number of issues and anti-incumbency issue against the state government. So let's see how the political equation will be changed. But as of now, it seems Haryana is in full swing for the campaign mode. All the political party, they are forging alliance. They are trying to touch all the voters at the grassroots level. Back to studio.
Gurpreet, also tell us about the campaigns that are going on, as far as the ground of Haryana is concerned, with respect to, Congress has this campaign, Hisab Do, 10 Saal Ka Hisab Do, and then BJP has started Mara Haryana, Non-Stop Haryana. So clearly, both parties seem to be eyeing Haryana with a lot of hope. This time in the Lok Sabha elections, Congress got 5, BJP got 5. BJP also changed its chief minister well before the Lok Sabha elections. So clearly, a lot of activity there also happening, and Congress also won a lot of seats like Rohtak, which it lost last time. So clearly, also tell us what is the state of these campaigns when it comes to the politics of both BJP and Congress is concerned.
Well, very clear. We have seen the Congress is overcharged since they were able to perform much better in Lok Sabha elections in Haryana. We have seen after that the Congress has been hitting the BJP government again and again, and they have already initiated one campaign which is being headed by Dipinder Hooda, that is member parliament from Rohtak and son of a former chief minister, Haryana Mange Hisab. They are highlighting all the failure of the government, and main important core issue which they are touching, one is the paper leak and unemployment among the youth. A huge number of the youth they are trying to allure with this failure of the state government, and at the same time they are also trying to gain maximum support from the farmers, because they say once they are going to come into power, all the grievances of the farmer will be addressed at the state level, and they will also support the farmers at the national level also. So if we can talk about the Congress party, they have already initiated the campaign. Not only the Congress party, we have seen even INLD, Indian National Lok Dal, recently they had forged alliance with the BSP, and they have also decided the seat sharing, because somewhere down the lane they are also trying to get all the data where they are going to be get maximum vote banks. So all these political equations are being changed, and the BJP is already on the streets, and multiple programs being held at the various districts, and they are also addressing the grievances of the people, so that they will be able to allure the people, they will be able to woo the voters at the last leg of the government. So let's see who will be able to get maximum support from the voters.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gurpreet, for joining us with those details. We'll keep coming back to you as soon as the election dates are announced. But over to Kolkata now, where the protest against, state administration, local police has intensified. This is, remember, with regard to the horrific murder and rape of a junior doctor in RG Kar Medical Hospital. My colleague Saurabh Gupta joins me from the ground. Saurabh, tell us, the vandalism that took place, even as reclaim the night protests were going on by women, clearly seems to have sent shockwaves across the state, across the country. Tell us what is happening in Kolkata today.
Well, the BJP protesters were here, and now, of course, the police has lifted the protesters from here, and, they've been bundled into prison vans and taken away. They had blocked this road here. This is the Bhupen Bosch Avenue on Shambazar, and the BJP protesters have been lifted from the ground here. Some of them are still holding their ground, though. Here, they're sitting on the ground, and the police, the women police, of course, arresting these protesters here, and lifting them into prison vans, as you can see. But other women protesters also continuing to remain on the ground and sitting down here. And of course, this is something that we are seeing at this point. You can see these women protesters here who have blocked the road by sitting on the road here, and the women police, of course, trying to take them away. As you see these pictures on the other side, of course, I'll show you the prison van where the police have managed to put those protesters and take them away from here. This is the prison van, and couple of protesters are here. As you can see, in several prison vans to remove the protesters and restore traffic on the road. This is a protest that was planned by the BJP, but obviously, permission issues with the police. And you can see now, the police lifting the protesters into the van here as we speak. And this is, of course, the door of the, removing those protesters, the Mahila Morcha protesters of the BJP from here, and taking them away as they are bundled into prison vans by the police here. So this is taking place at this point. Ognimitra Paul also here, and of course, she's the BJP MLA from Asansol, and of course she's a very vocal voice here in Bengal as well on behalf of the BJP. Let's just listen into what Ognimitra Paul is saying. If I can ask my camera person to come this side and try and give the frame of Ognimitra Paul and listening in to what she's saying as the BJP removes the protesters. Left, but of course, chaotic scenes unfolding at the Shambazar 5-point crossing as the BJP protesters here try to, sort of block the road and hold protests. Some of the protesters holding their ground as another prison van has been brought in to lift them out, from here and put them into the prison van here as more and more BJP leaders arrive at this protest. The road here blocked, and this is of course from the Bhupen Bosch Avenue in Shambazar at the 5-point crossing. You can see the police preparing more prison vans to, remove more protesters. We'll try and see if we can hear what Ognimitra Paul has to say and try and get in a word in from her, and also, try and see what we can do as far as hear what she has to say, though a lot of chaotic scenes unfolding here as BJP protesters also here are, trying to block the road and sort
protest
of
by the
make their point. There are multiple protests, political protests planned in the city today.
Well, Saurabh, while the BJP has been systematically creating pressure on the TMC, there's also a protest that the CPM has planned today. So politics clearly has intensified over this. Tell us about, what kind of, agitations are taking place in the state, because clearly the horrific rape and murder was one thing, but of course the vandalism that took place, in the hospital was another thing, and that really has sent shockwaves across the country.
That's right. The vandalism that took place at the Arjikar Medical College and Hospital has sent shockwaves around the country. The BJP is alleging that it was an attempt to, destroy the place of occurrence of the first crime, which is that heinous and brutal rape and murder of that young postgraduate medical student. But the police have managed to save that place. They managed to actually, keep the crime scene intact. And you can see, of course, women policemen now, of course, trying to lift these, protesters from here and take them away as the, women protesters here clash with the police, and others also sitting here. And of course, trying to, and we'll try and get in a word, of course, here, So anyways, we'll try and get in a word from these protesters to see what they're saying.
From the administration, because we saw the tweets by Abhishek Banerjee today saying that 15 people have been accused, have been taken into custody. So clearly the government is trying to put on a defense, but it is not acceptable considering the horrific nature of the crime, and also these speculations of a cover-up that has happened, and also the vandalism that took place. Is there any word from the state administration that has come to you?
And you can see, of course, as you see, the women riot control police officers have now arrived, and they are trying to remove these protesters from this spot. As you can see now, a little bit of commotion here as these policemen try to, cops try to remove these women who block the road here from the BJP. And, we'll stay on these pictures rather that are unfolding on the streets of Calcutta or Kolkata. This is in the Shambazar area, the Bhupen Bosch Avenue, where you're seeing these pictures of the BJP protest. And you will see these women riot control police officers who've been brought in here, and they're being bundled into prison vans as they are here. And the police and the policemen now, of course, bundling them into prison vans as they protest here. And absolutely chaotic scenes as they refuse to enter the prison van. So the police, of course, are trying to ensure that they are not they're not blocking the streets here. And the women protesters here are being bundled into police vans by the police here as we speak. And this is, of course, you can see leaders of the BJP also now being bundled into that prison van as we speak. These are, of course, live pictures of women protesters from the BJP also they're being bundled into prison vans here as we speak. And these are, of course, the protests still ongoing here as the BJP protests against and of course there's a protest by the Chief Minister later as well, and she will lead a rally, of course, and you can see, of course, the BJP protesters now being bundled into. So, of course, questions of the the visuals here of the protest that is taking place. So does that protest here taking place as you can see the BJP. Being here.
What are the police saying? Where are they taking them? Are they being taken into custody?
Been bundled into these protest vans as the prison vans that have been brought by the police to take away these protesters and clear the street here on the Bhupen Bosch Avenue. And you can see Rupa Ganguly also, who's being being put into that prison van at this point.
Saurabh, if you can hear me, is there any word from the state administration on this? What are the police saying? Where are they taking these protesters? I can see Rupa Ganguly, a short while ago we also saw Agnimitra Paul. So clearly several BJP leaders on the ground there.
That prison van, as you can see in these pictures here of Rupa Ganguly being bundled into that prison van, she's trying to speak here, and I think she's trying to say something to the media contingent here.
Those are the visuals of protests happening in Kolkata, outside the BJP office. A lot of these protesters have been taken into custody. The Kolkata police has taken them away. Remember that all these protests are happening because of this horrific rape and murder of a junior doctor that took place recently, of a 31-year-old doctor that took place recently at state-owned RG Kar Medical Hospital. Those are the visuals there of the police van taking away all the protesters, the female protesters who were agitating against not just the rape and murder of this junior doctor that took place recently, but also vandalism that took place in RG Kar Medical Hospital on just 2 days ago, just even as women of Kolkata were marching on the streets of the city to protest against the injustice done to the doctor. Over 18 halls and 18 rooms of RG Kar Medical Hospital were destroyed, were vandalized, and also the protesters were attacked, and this has set the BJP and the CPM to ask very difficult questions of the TMC as to why the protesters were being silenced. Those are the visuals of women protesters being taken into custody by Kolkata police. And you can also see Rupa Ganguly there. We'll keep coming back to this story in a bit. Moving on to other news of the day, amidst all the attacks on doctors, a letter issued by the Health Ministry to the Director General of Health Services has said that if any incident happens to health workers while on duty, the institute will be held responsible. Remember, this is after the horrific rape and murder of a 31-year-old junior doctor in RG Kar Medical Hospital. RG Kar Medical Hospital is owned by the state government. The FIR will have to be lodged within 6 hours. This is what the Health Ministry has told all the hospitals. And remember, those visuals on the screen of what is happening, what is unraveling in the streets of Kolkata. Going back to a story on the Health Ministry's instructions to the Director General of Health Services, asking all hospitals to report any incident of any untoward incident and also ensure that FIR is lodged within 6 hours. I have my colleague Tanushka joining us with more details on this. Tanushka, this is clearly a follow-up to what we saw happen in Kolkata last week. A 31-year-old doctor who did not even have a room, to rest, and she had to, basically rest in the seminar room, after which she was, brutalized, she was raped, and she was also murdered. That incident has sent shockwaves across the country. Several doctors, several women have come out in support of the doctor's family, and they have been alleging cover-up of the crime. They've been demanding justice. They've been demanding answers of the state government, of the TMC government specifically in West Bengal. Mamata Banerjee, in fact, has said that she has done everything possible to ensure justice, but of course, the case is now being handed over to the CBI. This is on the instructions of the Kolkata High Court. The Kolkata High Court, in fact, has asked some very stringent questions, very difficult questions to the police and also to the state administration. Tanushka is joining us now. Tanushka, tell us about the instructions that have been issued by the Health Ministry to the Director General of Health Services, which means although health is a state subject, there is a larger role of intervention that Health Ministry plays, and this is the Health Ministry putting its foot down and saying that, if any incident happens to health workers on duty, the institute will be held responsible.
Precisely that, the Health Ministry is making a very clear-cut statement here by its, orders to the Directorate General of the Health Services across board, that with respect to the violence that has become common against doctors and other healthcare staff in government hospitals, the number of healthcare workers that suffer physical violence during the course of their duty, it has been issued that in event of any such violence against any healthcare worker or doctors while on duty, the head of the institution shall be responsible for filing an institutional FIR within a maximum of 6 hours of the incident. This is what the memorandum says, and this makes a very strong statement with due course, keeping in view, of course, the rape and murder of the young trainee doctor at the RG Kaur Medical Hospital, and with now protests breaking out nationwide with the Federation of Resident Doctors Association as well as the Indian Medical Doctors Association also calling off a strike, and doctors also coming out to the forefront stating the violence and the harassment also that they face during their shifts. So in view of this, the Ministry of Health has issued this order to the Directorate of the General of Health Services.
Right. Thank you, Tanushka, for joining us with those details. Remember, to protest, to agitate against what happened in Kolkata, doctors across the country have shown solidarity. In fact, there are protests happening across the country. Remember that organizations like the Federation of Resident Doctors Association, FORMA, and also IMA have resumed their agitation and strike. This is with regard to the vandalism that happened after women of Kolkata took out an agitational march on the night 2 days ago. Joining me now is Tanishq from Lucknow. Tanishq, tell us, Tanishq has more details on this. In fact, doctors of Lucknow have also protested against what happened in Kolkata. They are also asking for safety protocols to be put in place and also a central law that can safeguard their rights.
Protest situation here in Uttar Pradesh. So UPRDA did not discontinue the strike even after FODA called it off 2 days back, a few days back. So the UPRDA continued the strike except on 15th August where it was halted for due to Independence Day. Now today it is going to be one of the largest gathering today, as all the 4 biggest medical colleges of Lucknow will be getting together and gathering and holding a silent protest march at the 1090 Chauraha or the 1090 crossing. One of the most busiest crossing here in Lucknow. Now what is 1090? 1090 is a women power line number that was started in 2012 to deal with cases of women atrocities. So of course it is going to be a big protest today. All the 4 big medical colleges of Lucknow are coming together and holding a silent candle march. Right now I am in KGMU. This is of course the beginning. Right now at 5 PM the silent candle march will be held at 1090 crossing. I have with me Dr. Divyansh here, the president of KGMU RDA. आज का क्या कितने लोग लगभग इकट्ठा हो रहे हैं?
पूरा हमारा मतलब के संघर्ष रहा है। हम लोगों ने रैली निकाली और इसी तरीके से हम शाम को 6:30 बजे 1090 चौराहे पर KGMU का पूरा फ्रेटर्निटी, डॉक्टर राम मनोहर लोहिया अस्पताल का पूरा फ्रेटर्निटी, SGPGI का पूरा मेडिकल फ्रेटर्निटी, कल्याण सिंह कैंसर इंस्टीट्यूट का पूरा फ्रेटर्निटी एंड जो हमारे साथ में जो हमारा लखनऊ यूनिवर्सिटी है वो लोग भी हमारे साथ ज्वाइन करने के लिए कह रहे हैं क्योंकि वो भी हमारा कॉज समझ रहे हैं। उसके अलावा बाबा अंबेडकर यूनिवर्सिटी हमारे साथ में शामिल होने को कह रही है। तो कुछ इतनी बड़ी तादाद में हम लोग 10-90 पर आज शोक सभा करने वाले हैं। ये एक मूक प्रदर्शन होगा जहाँ पर हम केवल अपने बैनर्स के साथ में जाएंगे, हम आवाज़ नहीं निकालेंगे। हम जन जन को बताना चाहते हैं हम कितना दुखी हैं।
All of them are wearing the black bands today. If you'd like to see, all of the resident doctors here are today wearing black band. If my camera person could pan and show the black band as a symbol of protest, all of them are wearing today. And of course, protest has been going on for a long time and since the very today आप लोग की VC भी आपके साथ जुड़ी थी protest?
Yes, हमारा जो प्रोटेस्ट की रैली की शुरुआत थी वो हमारी VC मैम ने की थी। तो जैसा हमारे कॉलेज एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने और फैकल्टी ने वादा किया था वो अपने वादे पर उन्होंने खरा उतरे हैं।
The intensity of the protest has been increasing since the time it started. Today all the four big colleges are coming together and now as Dr. Divyansh was saying that they are tomorrow going to celebrate a black Raksha Bandhan tomorrow. So of course the intensity of the protest increases today at around 5:30 to between 5:30 to 6 p.m. all the four medical colleges will come together and hold a silent candle march at the 1090 crossing. Yes.
So that was my colleague Tanish reporting from Lucknow. Now, doctors of Bengaluru have also shown solidarity with the doctors of Kolkata. Let's listen into what my colleague Pratibha has to say from the ground in Bengaluru.
From Kolkata to different pockets of India, we've been seeing the brutality that happened in Kolkata resonate with every female doctor in all corners of India. And we are here in Bengaluru's Nimans Hospital, and you have the resident doctors who have assembled here relentlessly protesting with one main demand, and that is justice for the victim. Now, when we talk about the challenges faced by every female doctor, what are the challenges that you face and why do you think you are protesting here today?
As you might have heard in the news, we have had significant brutality, rape and murder of one of our colleagues. And the idea of this protest is you touch one, you touch all. And this is something that everybody deserves, not just doctors, a safe working space. If you look here, more than 50% people here are females. This is one profession where we will have a lot of females working. And if you cannot give us safe environment, safe workspace, how can you expect us to give our 100%? We are not asking for lesser work hours. Even if you would have heard that she was working for 36 hours, 48 hours, we are not asking for that. All we are asking for is basic safety, having a doctor's room. Also the fact that something brutal has happened and what they're doing is every step of the day they're trying to create more injustice rather than providing justice to somebody who was working for you vehemently day and night, which is something which enrages all of us, and that is the reason we are all here.
When you talk about doctors, most patients seem to be coming in with the hope that this doctor would save one's life. But you are here neglecting all the services and you're coming here to protest, and that's been one of the criticisms faced by you. How do you think you want to answer that?
I think protesting, fighting for justice is definitely inconvenient. But the fact that we have to go to this extent for the government to address our concerns is very telling of the state of our country currently.
This is the only way to protest, you think. But what are the key demands that you want to lay before the government?
Our demands were very clear. We wanted CBI inquiry, we wanted Central Protection Act, not the act per se, just the written reassurance that we would be getting it soon. And we actually thought that now we are getting justice, CBI has taken over. What happens next is there are goons that come at night and try to vandalize and try to create physical kind of terror in the hospital. You tell us, how can we get up now?
How can they really get up when there are so many atrocities going on? Especially Karnataka, not new to the kind of vandalism that most of the hospitals have seen from patients themselves. A Central Protection Act and justice for the victim are the two key demands that have been laid down before the government. When will the government take note is the question that has been presented before them. With camera person Kumar, Pratibha Raman at Bengaluru's Nimans Hospital for NDTV.
So doctors across the country demanding that security protocols be put in place. They're also asking for a central act that can safeguard their rights and also give them better working conditions. We'll get you more voices on that, but now it's time for a short break.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
So a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate, let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
So a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate. Let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity."
Welcome back. The CBI has submitted its FIR copy today in the RG Kar Medical College case to the court. In fact, it was at the instructions of the court, Calcutta High Court, that the CBI had taken over this case of horrific rape and murder of a 31-year-old junior doctor in Kolkata. Remember that this case has also sent shockwaves across the country, with doctors in different states protesting. In fact, women of Kolkata also came out and walked all night just 2 days ago, which also was followed by incidents of vandalism in RG Kar Hospital. CBI's intervention in this case is going to be very keenly watched, because it also poses many questions on the Kolkata police's role and also speculated cover-up. I have my colleague Saurabh joining us. We will try and connect with Saurabh shortly, but remember, these are the visuals that you see of the protest that took place in the outside the BJP headquarters. Let's look at some political reactions.
ममता बनर्जी साइलेंस करने का कोशिश कर रहे हैं. क्लियर पिक्चर. आज हम लोग जो प्रतिबाद कर रहे हैं, ममता बनर्जी बोल रहे हैं हम भी चाहते हैं कि फांसी हो, लेकिन एक्चुअली वो चाहते नहीं है. Our protest will continue. We are going to the High Court. Our protest will continue. Heaven or hell. The world can fall apart, but BJP will protest for Abhaya.
That was Agnimitra Paul, who is a BJP MLA, speaking on the protest that took place today. Remember, the CBI team has already taken custody of the accused, Sanjay Roy, who was known to be a civic volunteer. In fact, the CBI team that visited Kolkata on Wednesday also took him for a medical examination. A forensic team was also brought in from Delhi. The CBI is taking a multilateral approach to this entire case. Let's get in Saurabh for more details. Saurabh, do we have any details about the FIR copy that has been submitted by the CBI? Because we were told that the CBI will look at various angles, including the gang rape angle and also the role of hospital administration in the crime that happened.
Well, obviously it is procedural for the CBI to register a case once it takes over a case. That's the procedure. And of course, a copy of this FIR has been submitted to the court. One must remember, this is a court-monitored CBI investigation. It's just not the CBI investigation. And this is so important. I'll tell you why. Because of the kind of, attention on this case, many, and including the ruling Trinamool Congress in West Bengal, have said that, look, the pace of CBI investigations is often tardy, that cases get handed over to them, but they never reach their logical conclusion or legal conclusion, which is a charge sheet and then conviction, etc., and pointing out that the conviction rate of the CBI, etc., central agencies are low. That's the stand of the Trinamool Congress. Now, given that this is a court-monitored investigation, every progress that the CBI makes in this case, even if it's procedural to a breakthrough in the investigation, you will expect that it would be reported to the court. So the registration of case is a procedural thing. But in the investigation, if something else comes forward, that will be real progress in investigation. But whatever happens, the CBI will have to report to the court on the status, on the speed, and on the progress they've made in the investigation. And therefore, the CBI, of course, has submitted this copy of the FIR.
That are largely going to be before the CBI. That is there a cover-up? Is this an alleged case of gang rape? And is the postmortem, improper?
Rape, and is the postmortem, improper to shield anyone? So in this context, the CBI handing over the FIR to the court is important because the court is also apprised of the progress it has made. It is procedural. Registration of a case is only the beginning of an investigation. It marks the beginning of the CBI investigation. But it is also, it is also informing the court that where is this investigation going or what is the status of the investigation.
Saurabh, also tell us a little bit about what the CBI team actually did when they were in Kolkata, because I remember them arriving in Kolkata on Wednesday. They had an FSL team along with them. They interrogated not just the doctors in RG Kar, but also the batchmates of the doctor who was brutally raped and murdered. And of course, the Kolkata police also made its submissions. So what kind of initiative and what kind of process took place in the last few days in the run-up to the submission of this FIR?
Well, the thing to note is the progress in the investigation. Where is this investigation going? It's very, of course, it's been handed over to the CBI on the orders of the Calcutta High Court. And the Calcutta High Court has taken very strong note of this case particularly. It handed over the case to the CBI, making an observation in its order that there is fear that evidence could be tampered with. And therefore, when the Calcutta High Court hands over the case to the CBI has to show progress. Remember, political parties like the Trinamool Congress are already going to be out on the streets demanding capital punishment for the accused. And therefore, the CBI at this stage or at any other stage of this investigation and progress of the investigation cannot be seen as tardy or lacking in progress. And therefore, what the CBI has done is, of course, it has to start recording statements. 27 statements were recorded by the police itself. That's what was submitted in the Calcutta High Court by the State Council of the West Bengal government. And therefore, after that, the CBI registers case. It has to, collect forensic evidence, which it did already. We saw that CBI team arriving. And then, of course, the further investigation, what we're also being given to understand that, and I believe this has been submitted in court, so I'm not sure if it has been, though, but that one of the things that the CBI investigation will look at is, of course, the former principal, Shandip Ghosh, who, of course, is very important in all of this. And I'll quickly explain why he's important. One of the things, again, to note from the Calcutta High Court order is the manner in which the Calcutta High Court treated Shandip Ghosh, because they said, why hasn't his statement been recorded yet? They asked the police that question. And therefore, we are being told that the CBI has also issued a notice to Shandip Ghosh, who's the former principal. Shandip Ghosh has come under attack from even leaders of the Trinamool Congress. Shantanu Sen has said that Mamata Banerjee has made progress in several medical colleges and hospitals, but this college had complaints and this needs to be looked at. Clearly targeting Shandip Ghosh. And Shandip Ghosh is someone whom the students have blamed. He seems to be, a person who's really someone who needs to be acted against as far as the Trinamool is concerned, as far as as far as the students are concerned, who've also raised their, complaints against this former principal.
Right. Also, sort of quickly explain to us what is the political fallout of this issue been like, because we see both the BJP and the CPM exerting a lot of pressure on the TMC, but there's also social pressure because, this is Kolkata where the TMC was known to be very strong, but women are walking at night, reclaiming, the night and reclaiming the city and also asking some very tough questions from the government. So what's been the political and social fallout of this episode?
Look, of course, Political is, of course, there are political protests. You just saw the BJP protest behind me. There's one going to be held by Mamata Banerjee herself, demanding capital punishment for the accused in this case. But I think what also needs to be noted is the social sort of impact. And I, for one, at least saw on the on the intervening night between 14th and 15th August, when India was on the eve of its Independence Day, thousands of women, no political affiliation, perhaps not even a single political bone in their body, but obviously coming out on the streets because they were aghast at the brutality of this incident. And that is something that is clear. And we were in Jadavpur, we were also, after that, of course, we had to rush to Arjikar because that vandalism took place. But it was quite clear that there was a certain sense of anger. And the anger was over not only the fact that, this is a doctor and this is a larger question of security for the medical fraternity, but the fact that this was seen as an assault on a woman who was at her workplace, which is this hospital. And that has led to a lot of sort of outpouring of anger as well. Now, obviously, some of that anger at the receiving end is the Trinamool Congress. It is the ruling government, the ruling dispensation, and therefore, a part of that anger would be directed towards the Trinamool Congress government. But, politically speaking, the Trinamool also says that this is, Derek O'Brien, for example, described it as bestial. So obviously, the Trinamool also making sure that, they don't want to be seen as, protecting the accused, even though questions have been raised over, like I said, this person, Sandeep Ghosh, his reinstatement did raise questions. That was a sore point. That was something that a lot of people, including within the Trinamool Congress, also, perhaps were not or were very uncomfortable with. And in fact, Shantanu Sen came out and said that, there are complaints against this man. But in all of this, what we also know is that, politically everyone will want to be seen as, on the side of those who are angry over what has happened in Arjikar Medical College and Hospital.
Right. Thank you, Saurav, for getting us those critical details. There's an update on that. CBI has submitted the FIR to the court. This is with regard to the horrific rape and murder case that happened in Arjikar Medical College and Hospital. That also led to protests across the country, with doctors seeking not just safety protocols but also a central law that will safeguard their safety. Women also came out in large numbers and they walked the streets of Kolkata just before Independence Day, demanding answers from the state government. Moving on to other stories. Ukraine's President Zelensky has claimed Kyiv's troops have full control now over the Russian town of Sudzha, which has a population of 5,000 people and contains infrastructure pumping Russian gas towards Europe. In fact, Sudzha, which is roughly 10 kilometers inside Russian territory, is the biggest of 80 settlements that Ukraine claims to have taken during the 10 days since its surprise incursion into Russian territory began. Ukraine has set up a military administrative office in Russia's western Kursk region, where its surprise incursion into Russia's territory continues, according to its top military commander, General Alexander Syrskyi. He said that the office would maintain law and order and meet the immediate needs of the population in the area. Russian Defense Minister Andrei Belosov has said that Moscow will now send reinforcements to safeguard the population in this part of the country.
Головком доповів щодо операції в Курській області. Є нове просування, є нове поповнення нашого обмінного фонду. Також генерал Сирський доповів про завершення звільнення міста Суджа від російських військових. І там зараз створюється українська військова комендатура. Звільнені також іще кілька населених пунктів, загалом вже більше ніж 80. Я дякую кожному нашому воїну, який все це забезпечує. Молодці!
Meanwhile, international mediators held a new round of talks aimed at halting the Israel-Hamas war and securing the release of scores of hostages, with a potential deal seen as the best hope of heading off an even larger regional conflict. The US, Qatar and Egypt met with an Israeli delegation in Qatar as the Palestinian death toll from the more than 10-month-old war climbed to over 40,000 deaths, according to Gaza health authorities. Hamas, which didn't participate directly, accuses Israel of adding new demands to a previous proposal that had US and international support and to which Hamas had agreed in principle. A ceasefire in Gaza would likely calm tensions across this part of the world. Diplomats hope that it would persuade Iran and Lebanon's Hezbollah to hold off on retaliating for the killing of a top Hezbollah commander in an Israeli airstrike in Beirut and of Hamas's top political leader in an explosion in Tehran.
Volker Turk, the High Commissioner for Human Rights, said that today marks a grim milestone for the world, with 40,000 Palestinian lives officially confirmed to have been lost, according to Gaza's health ministry. Most of the dead are women and children. This unimaginable situation, he said, is overwhelmingly due to recurring failures by the Israeli Defense Forces to comply with the rules of war.
Talks are moving forward today in Doha. President Biden directed Director Burns and Brett McGurk to participate for the United States. They're on the ground right now working with representatives from Israel, Qatar, and Egypt. Qatar and Egypt are in turn mediating with Hamas. The resumption of these talks is an important step. And in the lead up to this meeting, we'd already narrowed some gaps.
International mediators are holding a new round of talks in Qatar aimed at halting the war in Gaza and bringing home scores of hostages held there. There are still sticking points between Israel and Hamas, including over whether Israel will maintain troops in certain parts of Gaza or whether any ceasefire becomes permanent. Hamas, meanwhile, hasn't said whether it is participating in the talks or not. It accuses Israel of adding new demands to an evolving US-backed proposal that the sides are weighing. Israel denies this, and it has sent a delegation. Multiple rounds of previous negotiations between the sides throughout the 10-month-long war have failed. But reaching a deal now could help avert a wider regional conflict that might draw in Iran and the militant group Hezbollah into the fighting. The talks come as the death toll in Gaza reaches a grim milestone of 40,000 dead, according to local health officials.
Meanwhile, 5 people, including his personal assistant and 2 doctors, have been charged with connection with Matthew Perry's death in what prosecutors called a broad underground criminal network dedicated to getting the Friends actor the powerful surgical anesthetic that killed him. U.S. lawyer Martin Estrada said that the doctors preyed on Perry's history of addiction in the final months of his life last year to provide him with ketamine in amounts they knew were dangerous to the actor. Perry died in October due to a ketamine overdose, and prosecutors said he received several injections on the day he died from his live-in personal assistant Kenneth Ivamasa, who found Perry dead later that day and was the first to talk to investigators. Time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
So a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, is that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate. Let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
Now, a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, is that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join
Well, the most important dates of crucial assembly elections in Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir are supposed to get announced today. In a short while from now, also doctors across the country are protesting against the horrific rape and murder of a junior doctor in Kolkata recently. We'll get you all that and more in this bulletin, but first up, the headlines. Election Commission is all set to announce assembly election dates today. Haryana, Maharashtra, Jharkhand to go to polls this year. Jammu and Kashmir will go to polls after almost 10 years. Calcutta High Court takes up RG Kar Hospital vandalism case. Calcutta High Court has said that the state machinery had failed. Kolkata police arrest 19 over what really happened on the night before Independence Day. Health Ministry, in fact, has said that heads of institutions must file any violence FIR within anytime there's an untoward incident in the campus of the medical hospital. Will KTR use the same language for sister? This is what Telangana minister's KTR shocking statement said. In fact, women can break dance on buses. That's the statement that is being seen as very controversial now. KTR had mocked women for peeling onions on state buses. ISRO successfully launched an Earth satellite mission into intended orbit. The space agency launched its third and final developmental flight. Apart from African nations now, Sweden and Pakistan have also reported first cases of Mpox. These are the first cases of Mpox outside Africa. Over 400 dead in Democratic Republic of Congo. WHO meanwhile has issued a global health alert warning of possible spread of the virus to other countries. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, meanwhile, has interacted with Indian Olympics champions. He hailed their spirit and said the entire nation is proud of their work. And he also told the athletes that it's time to keep preparing for the 2036 Olympics. The Indian men's hockey team, which earned its second consecutive Olympic bronze, presented the Prime Minister with a hockey stick that was signed by all the players. Well, Election Commission is all set to announce the schedule for assembly elections today. Assembly elections are slated to be held in Jammu Kashmir, Haryana, Maharashtra and Jharkhand. But in focus are, of course, the states of Haryana and the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Haryana saw even Stevens' performance by the Congress and the BJP in the Lok Sabha elections of 2024. And Jammu Kashmir has been waiting for elections for the past 10 years. The Election Commission recently visited Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana to oversee the poll preparedness, also assess the logistics, but it also visited Maharashtra and Jharkhand last month in July. The term of the Legislative Assembly of Jharkhand ends in January 2025. In fact, this all-important presser of the Election Commission is slated to happen at 3 p.m. today.
Finally, Election Commission is announcing elections for Jammu and Kashmir. Is a historic election in many ways. First time in the history of Jammu and Kashmir when assembly election will be held after a gap of 10 years. And this election is happening after J&K remained under the center rule, direct center rule for more than 6 years. I'm joined by Wahid Rahman Para, senior leader of PDP. Wahid sir, what this election means for you?
I think this election is happening after 5-6 years of void, and there's a huge vacuum in Jammu and Kashmir. So this is an election to reclaim, so first of all, the space that Kashmiris have lost and everything that has been snatched: political rights, democratic rights, constitutional rights, and also the institutions, the grip over institution that we have lost. So everywhere you see non-locals governing the locals of Kashmir, and there's a huge sense of dispossession and disempowerment.
Democracy was in a suspended animation. Political parties were in a disarray. They have lost their political moorings after the abrogation of 370, stripping J&K of its statehood and special status. How will politics play? What is like the agenda now for political parties? Because it appears no agenda.
I think this is about self-preservance, first of all, for all of us, to reclaim our space democratically, politically. And also, you saw in the parliament elections, the number of people voted out, the passion that was there. Is that how from Kashmir has transformed from violence to democracy also? And how people would earlier, young people would pelt stones, have preferred pelting votes as an act of anger or as an act of resistance in many ways to register their protest. So democratically, people are trying to express themselves. They want to break the cycle of silence, the fear in Jammu and Kashmir, the raid raj that's happening.
Finally, Election Commission is announcing elections for Jammu and Kashmir. Is a historic election in many ways.
हम लोग 50 सीटों से ज़्यादा नहीं, हम हुकूमत बनाए। अरे बनाओ, किसने रोका? और चोरी मत करो, इलेक्शन कमीशन का फायदा मत उठाओ और लोगों को हक दो। बंद कर देते हैं, कई इलाकों में बंद कर देते हैं, उनको आने नहीं देते, वोट डालने नहीं देते। अगर आपने अपनी तकदीर बदलानी है, अपने बच्चे की तकदीर बदला, बेटी की तकदीर बदलानी, तो ये वोट जो है इसको इस्तेमाल कीजिए।
My colleague Nazir joining us with more details on this. Nazir, the J&K Assembly polls date could be announced today is what we hear. It's interesting because Lok Sabha elections presented, the picture of Jammu and Kashmir as a place that's completely ready for elections because the voting percentage was the highest that Jammu and Kashmir has seen in the last 37 years. But of course, there have been a spate of attacks, terror attacks in the last few months. Tell us how critical are these dates and what is the sentiment on the ground?
Well, number one, it appears that the J&K administration, it seems they have been taken by surprise when Election Commission announced that they are announcing poll dates today. So the code of conduct will come into force by 3 p.m. this evening, today. So what they did, they issued slew of orders of transfers. 156, more than 150 officers have been transferred. Among them are the SPs of 10 districts, DCs of 5 districts, and then there are DIGs, there are IGPs. Large scale transfers have been made since last night, particularly since this morning. Opposition has clearly, objected to it. Umar Abdullah tweeting and saying, what is this? And asking Election Commission to see if it is being done with this thing to change things on during elections. Having said that, this is an election which everyone was waiting for last many years. Because elections here mean just more than a vote. Here, people have given their lives for the right to vote during militancy when there was a boycott call. Those who would defy boycott call would face the wrath of militants. Many were killed just for their right to vote. Now, because for last 6 years, there was no elected government. Democracy was literally in a suspended animation. And finally, Election Commission, despite warnings by so many people, look, there's a militancy, they are attacked. When full Election Commission visited here recently, Chief Election Commissioner Mr. Raju Kumar said that no external or internal threat or the force can derail the electoral process. He said no militant, it is like a chicken and egg situation if we say there are militant attacks in Jammu, etc. So nothing is going to deter us. He said we have to build on the momentum and the enthusiasm of people have shown during the recent parliament elections, which have witnessed a record voting. So people actually repose their faith in democracy. So he said, we want to build on this. So finally, Jammu and Kashmir will witness this election. This is first election after a gap of 10 years, which is the longest gap in the history of Jammu and Kashmir. This is the first election in the union territory of Jammu and Kashmir. So it is also an election which after the abrogation of Article 370 and voters will decide whether they have approved what the BJP as central government has done or not. These are the results of these elections. But at the outset, who wins and who loses, that's not important. Important is that finally the democracy is being revived. Finally, people will get a chance to vote and elect their representatives. During Prime Minister's visit here in Srinagar in June, he said that the people will soon have their own elected representatives. There will be assembly elections and also statehood will be restored. These are two things which even the Constitution Bench of the Supreme Court during its hearing or the judgment verdict on Article 370 has said it has directed the Election Commission to conclude elections before September 30 and also restore the statehood. That was the direction to the central government. So it's after elections, it's expected that the statehood will be also restored. So every party is happy because political parties have lost their moorings. They don't have, what would they stand for? That whole politics has changed. It has been a huge disruptor in Jammu and Kashmir, August 5, 2019. Since then, a lot of things have changed in Jammu and Kashmir. But was missing badly by a common man was the democracy. But finally, elections are taking place, and by 3 today, just in an hour or so, we would know what are the dates and how many phases would be there. But finally, good news is that Jammu and Kashmir will finally have assembly election after a gap of 10 years.
Well, Nazir, when it comes to political narratives and political campaigns, the demand for statehood has been reiterated by political parties time and again. But when it comes to the BJP, it has been talking about this development narrative in J&K. It has been talking about the benefits of abrogation of Article 370. The politics of J&K also seems to be, quite in a bit of a flux with Umar Abdullah saying that he will not be contesting assembly polls anymore. How does it look like from the ground? How are political parties preparing for this? There are several other players, smaller players, even as the BJP does not have that much of a stake. How do you see politics prepping for these elections?
Well, clearly, this is the first election post-abrogation of Article 370. This will also show the will of people, which side of the fence they belong, whether they have actually approved what center has done or they are rejecting it. But here, political parties, even BJP has been saying that it was an interregnum, this union territory. Jammu and Kashmir was a state, and it will be a state. Prime Minister, Home Minister, Amit Shah, also they have reiterated the restoration of statehood. Nobody has a dispute over that. But what was missing was badly that there's no democracy. There were no elected representatives. Even Prime Minister during his visit said, look, the people will elected, they are represented so that they will address their problems. So people also, everyone knows there was a democracy deficit, despite the claims of, development, all that is there. But nothing is a replacement and alternative to democracy and democratic rights of the people. That's what everybody was asking for. And when Election Commission came here, they said, look, there was a delimitation which took 2 years. Then there was, revision of electoral rolls. Now there were parliament elections, and because of the security situation, simultaneous elections could not be held. Now, at the earliest, Election Commission decided to visit Jammu and Kashmir. They took the feedback from all the political parties, from the officers, and finally, they have decided to hold elections and go by and abide by the direction which have been given by the Supreme Court, which is holding elections by September 30. So that is finally happening. As I said, it is a historic election in many ways. And because in Jammu and Kashmir, people have fought militancy, they have taken bullets for the right to vote. Large number of people have been killed just because they stood by democracy and defied boycott calls. But good news is that after parliament elections, we have seen there was no boycott call, there was no, problem, violence on the ground. People came out in large numbers and reposed faith in democracy, and that is expected to be, repeated. Not just the repeated, but the numbers are expected to be much higher, given the fact we see on the ground how eagerly political parties, common people, everybody has been waiting for the day when elections will be, announced. Though there is a sense, for example, Umar Abdullah and Mahbub Mufti, two former chief ministers, saying they will not contest elections. Umar Abdullah saying because in the union territory, the whole powers rests with the lieutenant governor, like in Delhi. So what is the fun of, contesting election? But their parties, all the parties are contesting these elections.
Thank you, Nasir, for joining us with those details and giving us that perspective. We'll keep coming back to you. The Indian Medical Association, one of the key bodies of doctors in the country, which has been at the helm of affairs of the protest, is holding a press conference. Let's listen into what Mr. Ashokan is saying.
They didn't have a proper duty room in that floor. And so the seminar room was used with the 2 beds there because that was the only place perhaps they could relieve themselves. So that was very unfortunate. This has brought out the lack of concern for the working hours of the resident doctors, their infrastructural basic needs that has also come out in this episode. The violence on the protesting doctors, we had addressed them at around 3 p.m. The violence happened at midnight. At that point of time, more than 300 of these boys and girls, all medical students, second year, third year, very young boys and girls, they were sitting there at midnight and they were, driven away. And the mob is supposed to vandalize the emergency, the floors, the equipments, and went up to the 3rd floor where the crime has occurred. So these are very serious things which have happened. One is a crime in workplace. Another is such an atmosphere of vandalism could be created in a hospital. So I think the nation is awakening that what we have been saying for the past 2 decades, that the ground reality is very different and we need a new set of laws, new set of infrastructure and security deployment in the hospitals.
Yeah. You said that the midnight attackers went up to the 3rd floor where the crime was committed. What do you think was the purpose? Was it to wipe out some evidence maybe?
Yes, there is a doubt that there is a purpose. There was also the purpose to terrorize the students, drive them away from the protesting place. But the very fact that it went to the 3rd floor and not further It only proves that that vandalism was also part of the design.
Now the probe has been handed over to CBI and the Chief Minister has promised that they will get to the bottom of it. The CM is asking the doctors to call off their agitation. Do you think that, and she's saying that the demands have already been met, so why are you still protesting? Do you think the demands have been met?
Sir, the boys and girls are afraid. They are simply scared. They cannot go into that place with additional security and additional, infrastructural changes. Who will walk those corridors? Who will go again there? How can you do a midnight duty? And more than the doctors, the nurses. The scare has spread to the nurses. You can see that the nurses are joining the protest everywhere. So I think it's a serious issue that the nation and the governments have to address. They are asking for basic right of safety in workplace. It may take certain laws, new laws. It may take new infrastructure. It may take new security protocol, but it has to be in place. We owe it to our women professionals.
Now the doctors are, of course, are protesting. They have a right to protest, and the nation also understands their fear, their pain, their concern. But at the same time, the patients are also not getting the care that they deserve. How do you balance the two, your demand for justice as well as your commitment to the patients?
I think people understand. This time people understand it very clearly that we are not fighting for the rights of the doctors alone. We are equally fighting for the daughters of this nation. That all parents understand what we mean. And we have exempted the emergencies and casualties. Only the routine services have been withdrawn for 24 hours.
Yeah. You have also spoken about the need for a law to prevent these kind of, not sexual assaults, obviously that is a different area, but general assaults on medical professionals. What would you like to say a little bit more about what kind of law you would expect?
There is a reluctance on the part of the government to acknowledge and admit that there is violence against doctors and hospitals. But you cannot run away from reality. We need to address. Unless you acknowledge, you will not address. There is a draft bill which was prepared in 2019, and that is there. That never went into the parliament. That's available. And during the pandemic, the Epidemic Diseases Act of 1897 was amended by an ordinance. Within 24 hours, they were able to bring it out. And later the parliament passed it in 2023. These are available things. One is in the statute. One is after multi-stakeholder consultations. Already the bill is there. Now the government is, we did meet the health minister. He was very sensitive. I told him that the profession, now the percentage of women is around 60%. And this is bound to grow, and we have a moral duty to protect them. There is a thinking in the government that they may refer it to perhaps an expert committee to look at the possibility of a bill, but that will be too little, too late. Too little, too late, because everything is in place. It only needs a political will to push the button.
And why don't we have the political will?
I am having total trust on the health minister, who is very sensitive to the situation. It's basically the establishment which has certain view or a perspective about what should be done. There cannot be a special law on this. So the political will come. That's my trust.
Okay. And this incident has once again highlighted the vulnerability of women medical professionals in our country. What does it tell us about our society? Where are we headed as a nation if these attacks like this continue?
You look at the way that the nation is responding. So I think the 90-95% of the population has that traditional culture in us regarding women. Maybe we should not blow up isolated criminal actions, which will ultimately reflect on the nation also.
Yeah. It is not just about medical professionals being under threat. According to statistics, 56 rapes happen in our country every hour.
Yes.
16 rapes every minute in our country. So I think as a nation, you think we should all
take the call. Maybe this is an opportunity also. You may not get another opportunity like this. It's a national movement which is growing like abaya.
Now, immediately after the Kolkata incident, one more incident has come to light from Uttarakhand, where a nurse of a private hospital was sexually assaulted, and her face was disfigured. Her body was found after 15 days. So it is just another example of what the medical professionals are facing. Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about the monkeypox that originated in Africa, first case discovered in Sweden? Should India be concerned, and what preparations should we make?
I don't think at this point of time it will be relevant. The WHO sometimes goes overboard also. We need to, on country basis, our health ministry is equipped with adequate data and information. And I think we should trust our ministry on taking this call. We are fully posted with data and things. The call has to be taken by the ministry. And WHO call need not be taken as the one that is final. It may be for many countries across the globe, where we are a different nation, we are at a different level.
I want to ask you one more question about the Kolkata incident. You can speak off the record if you like. We decide later. On the surface, on the face of it, it looks like just a sexual assault case, rape and murder.
So that was R.V. Ashokan, President of the Indian Medical Association, making some very critical points. Remember that IMA has been at the forefront of the nationwide protest that we've been witnessing in connection to the horrific rape and murder of a junior female doctor that we saw in Kolkata. Thousands of resident doctors are protesting across the country. R.V. Ashokan, Dr. Ashokan, in fact, made some very critical points. The IMA has been asking for a central law to safeguard the rights of doctors. It has been also asking for safety protocols to be put in place. It has also been asking for better working conditions for doctors, including better waiting rooms. Remember, the 31-year-old doctor in Kolkata who was raped and murdered did not have a waiting room, and hence she had to spend the night after a 36-hour shift in the seminar room. Let me go across to my colleague Radhika Ramaswamy, who's reporting on a similar protest of doctors happening in Azad Maidan in Mumbai, where thousands of resident doctors have gathered and they've been asking for answers. Radhika, tell us, what is the sentiment on ground? Because there's a lot of comparison between Mumbai and Kolkata. What happened with Aruna Shahbag several years ago is being in some ways replayed. Now the memories of that incident have come back. Tell us, what are the doctors in Mumbai saying?
All right, I am in Azad Maidan in Mumbai, where thousands of doctors have gathered here, and I'm going to just show you around. These are the doctors, female, male doctors who've gathered here from across private as well as government hospitals. I'm just going to show you the posters they've all been showing. It says "Rage Against Rape." It says when white coat turns red, society turns black. It says here to serve, not to suffer. No safety, no service. So these are the posters and banners that these doctors here have been showing and are protesting at this point on stage and off stage. As you can see, multiple hospital doctors are here gathered. In fact, the protests are only intensifying, not just in Mumbai, of course, across the country. Let me go across to a few of them to understand what their charter of demands are. Ma'am, you've been protesting over the last 3 days over the safety and security of doctors and, of course, seeking justice for the victim as well.
Yeah, we are here to protest mainly against two things. One is the justice and the next is the safety. So this is not only the doctor strike, this is the whole nation strike. This should be a nation strike because it is the safety of the women. We female doctors थे, इधर उधर किधर भी कुछ भी जगह मिलते तो हम सोते थे. ड्यूटीज हम 36 आवर्स, कभी कभी 48 आवर्स, 72 आवर्स हम करते थे. कोई भी उसको भी हम प्रोटेस्ट किया, कोई फर्क नहीं मिला. But at least we continued our duties. In spite of it, have you ever heard that somebody got raped inside their house? I know so many rapes are
horrific. In fact, we want justice is the slogan that is being raised here. Tell me, what is your demand and what is the systemic change that you'd like to see across hospitals, because that's your workplace and that's where this horrific incident took place?
Only I want to say we want justice, and for non-medicals, please help us. If we are all together, then only something can happen. Please, non-medicals. We want CPI Act to be applied for doctors' safety, and we also want for our workplace there should be one room or one restroom for doctors in every government hospital.
Social Protection Act to be implemented, more safety, surveillance. You're a male doctor yourself. Take us through your charter of demands, especially for your female colleagues.
I have seen myself how my female colleagues work. They have to work 24 hours. And it's inevitable. 24 hours work has to be done. You cannot say that female doctors ko night duty exempt kar do. That is not possible because everyone has to work. The workforce is also very limited. And even in this limited workforce, the facilities are limited. Our resting facilities are limited. We don't have often a proper room to sleep, a proper place to sleep. We end up sleeping in wards and all. Everyone, including my female colleagues. So that is something that has to change. And the protection has to be ensured. Entering hospitals like this, like goons are entering hospitals like this and causing chaos. That is just not acceptable.
Protection has to be ensured. Abysmal conditions as far as these doctors are concerned. That's what he's explaining here. So yes, demands only intensifying at this point. They are seeking justice for the victim's family, of course, and besides that, safety, security and well-being for all of these doctors is the highlight as far as these protests are concerned. Back to you.
Well, thank you, Radhika, for joining us with those details. Moving on to an associated story. In the midst of these attacks on doctors, a letter has been issued by the Health Ministry to the Director General of Health Services saying that if any incident happens to health workers while on duty, the institution will be held responsible. This is, remember, a follow-up of what happened in Kolkata's RG Kar Medical Hospital. It is state-owned. 31-year-old doctor was raped and also brutally murdered. In fact, the Health Ministry has also asked for an FIR to be lodged within 6 hours. My colleague Tanushka has more details on this.
Ministry is making a very clear-cut statement here by its orders to the Directorate General of the Health Services across board that with respect to the violence that has become common against doctors and other healthcare staff in government hospitals, the number of healthcare workers that suffer physical violence during the course of their duty, it has been issued that in event of any such violence against any healthcare worker or doctors while on duty, the head of the institution shall be responsible for filing an institutional FIR within a maximum of 6 hours of the incident. This is what the memorandum says, and this makes a very strong statement with due course, keeping in view, of course, the rape and murder of the young trainee doctor at the RG Kar Medical Hospital, and with now protests breaking out nationwide with the Federation of Resident Doctors Association as well as the Indian Medical Doctors Association also calling off a strike, and doctors also coming out to the forefront stating the violence and the harassment also that they face during their shifts. So in view of this, the Ministry of Health has issued this order to the Directorate of the General of Health Services.
Well, protests across the country are also taking place after what really happened on the eve of Independence Day, the incidents of vandalism that took place at RG Kar Medical Hospital that also saw the rape and murder of a 31-year-old doctor. This has also led to protests across the country. My colleague Pratibha Raman has details of what is happening in Bengaluru as to what the doctors there have to say.
From Kolkata to different pockets of India,
We've been saying the brutality that happened in Kolkata resonate with every female doctor in all corners of India. And we are here in Bengaluru's Nimans Hospital, and you have the resident doctors who have assembled here relentlessly protesting with one main demand, and that is justice for the victim. Now, when we talk about the challenges faced by every female doctor, what are the challenges that you face, and why do you think you are protesting here today?
As you might have heard in the news, we have had significant brutality, rape and murder of one of our colleagues. And the idea of this protest is you touch one, you touch all. And this is something that everybody deserves, not just doctors, a safe working space. If you look here, more than 50% people here are females. This is one profession where we will have a lot of females working. And if you cannot give us safe environment, safe workspace, how can you expect us to give our 100%? We are not asking for lesser work hours. Even if you would have heard that she was working for 36 hours, 48 hours, we are not asking for that. All we are asking for is basic safety, having a doctor's room. Also the fact that something brutal has happened, and what they're doing is every step of the day they're trying to create more injustice rather than providing justice to somebody who was working for you vehemently day and night, which is something which enrages all of us, and that is the reason we are all here.
When you talk about doctors, most patients seem to be coming in with the hope that this doctor would save one's life. But you are here neglecting all the services, and you're coming here to protest, and that's been one of the criticisms faced by you. How do you think you want to answer that?
I think protesting, fighting for justice is definitely inconvenient. But the fact that we have to go to this extent for the government to address our concerns is very telling of the state of our country currently.
This is the only way to protest, you think. But what are the key demands that you want to lay before the government?
Our demands were very clear. We wanted CBI inquiry, we wanted Central Protection Act, not the act per se, just the written reassurance that we would be getting it soon. And we actually thought that now we are getting justice, CBI has taken over. What happens next is there are goons that come at night and try to vandalize and try to create physical kind of terror in the hospital. You tell us, how can we get up now?
How can they really get up when there are so many atrocities going on, especially Karnataka, not new to the kind of vandalism that most of the hospitals have seen from patients themselves. A Central Protection Act and justice for the victim are the two key demands that have been laid down before the government. When will the government take note is the question that has been presented before them. With camera person Kumar, Pratibha Raman at Bengaluru's Nimans Hospital for NDTV.
So doctors across the country continue to protest against the crime that happened to a 31-year-old doctor in Kolkata. Moving on to other stories, after much outrage, K.T. Ramarao, the ex-minister of Telangana, has apologized for his controversial remarks. This is after a women's panel began a probe into what he really said during a speech to party workers. KTR had spoken about women utilizing the state government's free bus travel scheme, which was introduced shortly after the Congress party came to power in the state this year. In fact, last year, Telangana's Women and Child Welfare Minister Sitaka has condemned the comments that were made by BRS working president K.T. Ramarao. He also happens to be the son of former Chief Minister of Telangana, KCR. The comments basically reflected a mindset towards women. That's what she has said. KTR had mocked women peeling onions and garlic while travelling in the free bus service of the Congress government, which was a promise that Rahul Gandhi had made as part of the guarantees, and the Telangana state government had delivered this. She also added, he had added that he had no objection to anything, even if they did a breakdance on the bus.
What is the controversy and what are you asking? You have started a free bus service for women. What happened?
We don't know why his comment like that, very shameful KTR comments, because in hundreds of years after that, women are coming mainstream just now only. She is doing her work only as a doctor. It is a very, very shocking me, and we are also feeling very bad. She is a well-educated and doctor. She is ready to give some birth, breathing or life, some like that type of saving lives. That is her duty. But she lost her life because of male domination, cruel mentality men's through. So here we saw KTR words also, very shameful to his and his character, because women are going free buses, so they using their works in their seat only. He compared to, okay, you don't sit in, you don't do in your own words, your own work. You can do cabaret dance and record some other tool, record dance. How it is comparing that? We are seeing since we are seeing a lot of years, women's going very long journey, even though implies. Even though I saw in secretariat, old secretariat, there is some market, vegetable market. After when they are left duty office, they took buy some vegetables, and that time not enough to again go and do their domestic works like that. So then in bus or in this train, local train, also they can do their work only. But we supported, okay, what is the wrong that work? I support, I like that. So he commented, okay, it is not wrong, but you can do break dance and cabaret dance, record dance, and full family come and do like this. Very, very feudal mentality people only talk this type of words.
So that was WCD Minister of Telangana Sita Akka condemning the comments made by BRS Working President K.T. Ramarao, who is also the son of former Chief Minister of Telangana KCR. KTR had in a very controversial statement said that women who are using the free public transport service offered by the Telangana state government are busy peeling onions and garlic while travelling in the buses, and he wouldn't have had an objection even if they did a breakdance on the bus. Now that was Sita Akka telling NDTV that this reflects the mindset of certain leaders towards women, and she's also talked about how the free bus service scheme in the government has only led to women becoming more productive. Remember that this was a promise that was made by the Congress party, something that Revanth Reddy led Congress government in Karnataka fulfilled. It has also been something that the opposition has been condemning, saying that this has led to burdens on the exchequer. The Telangana's WCD Minister Sita Akka has come forward to condemn the comments made by BRS Working President K.T. Ramarao. But let me also remind my viewers that Uma Sudhir, my colleague, has reported that K.T. Ramarao has now apologized for his comments. He has in fact posted on X that he sincerely regrets if his comments had hurt the sentiments of his sisters. To remind you, KTR had mocked women peeling onions and garlic while travelling in the free bus service provided by the Congress state government in Telangana, and he had added that he had no objection if they did a breakdance on the bus as well. Sita Akka, who is a minister in the Revanth Reddy-led state government, she's in fact the Minister for Women and Child Welfare, she has condemned these comments, saying that these comments only reflect a certain mindset of some political leaders towards women. KTR has also posted on X saying that he apologizing for his comments, saying that he sincerely regrets hurting the sentiments of his sisters. Meanwhile, moving on to other stories, ISRO today successfully placed an Earth observation and Demosat satellite into intended orbit. The space agency launched its third and final developmental flight, small satellite launch vehicle D3 carrying Earth observation satellite EOS-08. The rocket lifted off majestically from the first launch pad at the Satish Dhawan Space Research Center here, situated about 135 kilometers from Chennai. It was done at a prefixed time of 9:17 a.m. The objectives of this mission include designing and developing a microsatellite and creating payload instruments that are compatible with a microsatellite bus. Listen in to what the ISRO chief Somanathan had to say.
It is a much more simpler design compared to a regular rocket. It uses more cost-effective inertial systems. The entire navigation process is different. Its ability to place small satellites is very crucial. It's all based on solid stages with a small liquid trimming upper stage. So the entire architecture and design of SSL is entirely different than the regular liquid based rockets. And in such rockets, to get a precise injection is always tricky. That is issue that we faced in the first mission. Though he placed the satellite, the precision was slightly an issue. So we solved all the problem, made 2 successful missions, and completed the development program.
For the passive role control.
0.
Superb liftoff of SSLV D3 EOS-08 mission. Sleek rocket searing through the sky.
Now, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar has spoken on the narrative that's aimed at destroying the economy. In fact, he has said that it's extremely worrying that a person holding a constitutional position asking Supreme Court to give wings to a narrative aimed at destroying our economy. This is what Mr. Dhankar has said. He was addressing the first batch of law students at the NLU Delhi, and he has expressed concern that people holding constitutional positions are asking Supreme Court to give wings to a narrative aimed at destroying an economy. In fact, he was inferring at the comments made by Leader of Opposition Rahul Gandhi in the recent controversy involving SEBI. Listen in to what Mr. Dhankar said.
I got extremely worried when a person holding constitutional position just last week declared in a well-publicized media, I would say, campaign, beseeching Supreme Court to so moto invoke jurisdiction to give wings to a narrative aimed at destroying our economy.
Time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate. Let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
Now, a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides.